It's a bit of a cheesy opening, I must be honest. But I just thought it was really pretty, and so I wanted to do it. My name is Michael Romero. I am 35 years old, and I am running to be the mayor of Magna. So why am I running to be the mayor of Magna, right? Like, that's kind of the $10 million question on probably everyone's mind, right? Why is this probably somewhat unknown to some of you, somewhat well known to many of you, individual running for mayor? Well, like all of you guys, I live in the city. I see the same things you guys see. With us becoming a city last year, and if you guys aren't aware, we are a city. We didn't have a choice in the matter. We were a metro township before, and in House Bill 35 of the session of 2024, all of the metro townships had to become cities. There was a fate that was a little bit worse, which was the metro township would have been dissolved and we would have been absorbed by the next largest municipality, which I think in our case probably would have been West Valley City. House Bill 35, 2024, forced us to become a city. And so last year, our appointed mayor by the council had a little bit of a transition period. And this year, we get our first elected mayor. And we are a 6-member council form of city government. You can go and look up Title 10, all these boring laws. But you can go look up Title 10 if you want to see what a 6-member council form of municipal government is. And you read all about the boring details about it. The reason I wanted to be mayor, right, is that I live here. I live here with all of you guys. I've been looking around, been seeing things my whole life. Don't know if you know about that. I'm real good at it. My whole life, man. I'm real good at looking at stuff. And I have the same concerns that you guys have. The same questions you guys have, right? Like, what's going on? And so when I looked at us becoming a city, one of the worries that I had was surrounding communication, right? That was one of the first things. And then, you know, as somebody who's been kind of passive at watching our municipality, our city, one of the other problems that I had was every time I try and look up what to do in our code, I would always just kind of get this sense of confusion looking at the code, going like, well, all of this says that I need to reach out to Salt Lake County, and why, right? What is, if I'm in a city and this says I need to reach out to Salt Lake County, what is the point of us being a city? And as I dove into it, I found, oh man, our code's a bit of a mess, to put it lightly. We adopted all of the county code when we became a metro township, and it was supposed to be a placeholder code, and that was, 10 years ago now? And so that placeholder code's been pretty permanent code. And so those two reasons kind of got me interested in wanting to run. And the third reason is that I've seen our city. You know, we got a lot of half-done projects. We got the dog park down in Copper Park. We got our parks with their asphalt, their turf Sahara deserts. And we've got just a lot of stuff that's in flight that isn't complete, and it's not getting complete, and there isn't good communication as to why it's not getting complete. And when you reach out about it, it's always, oh, you know, come to the city council meeting and speak your mind. And while that's true, you should go to a city council meeting. You should be involved in your government, right? Every time I'd go down there, I just kind of got this feeling of like, I mean, it just kind of feels like we're kicking the can down the road forever. And I get that, you know, it's a part-time job for a lot of these folks, and so stuff kind of just falls by the wayside. So those were like kind of the collection of reasons that made me want to run, made me start going, I should jump into this and help this along. So I work in the tech industry, and in the tech industry, we do a lot of project management, right? I've been what's known as a software architect. Technically a site reliability engineering architect, but it's a huge mouthful of technical jargon that doesn't really mean anything to anybody not in the industry. But what my job was to make huge, massive proposals for giant companies and then help them achieve those proposals. So if I came in and I said, hey, you got to change all of these big systems, it's going to cost a lot of money, it's going to be difficult, there's going to be lots of people involved, we're going to hire a bunch of contractors, we're going to subcontract out a few of these things. My job was to make sure that that happened. And so that's a skill set that's made me kind of uniquely positioned to see comfort in being a mayor. Because the mayor in the 6-member form of council is it's a administrative role without a vote. So the 5 members of the council will vote on issues. The mayor's job is to essentially see those issues through. So the council still retains, the original council, the 5 members of the council, retain all of the power, the people that represent you, which is good. We want that, right? And then the mayor's job is to then ensure that those things happen. So the mayor needs to hold the city manager, the contracting companies, the municipal services district, the trash, the police, the fire, everybody who is working in the city needs to make sure that they're held accountable. That appealed to me. It appealed to me because it was a skill set that I had. Being a representative would have been good, but I like Eric Barney, and I think that the people running against him are all really good, and I just didn't feel comfortable running against Eric Barney, and so I decided to go for the mayor role, which was open. There's no incumbent that I'm going after, and so that's the reason why I was like, okay, I'm going to run to go be the city mayor. And so what, as a mayor, am I going to do, right? What am I going to do for you guys? And that's a great question. What an attractive question. The parking lot says to me as I ask it to myself. Well, the first is I'm going to focus on code cleanup, because that's one of the areas I see is most problematic. What does that mean, right? Code cleanup. Well, the reason the code needs to be cleaned up is that the code is you could think about it as the laws of Magna City. And so if we want to do anything in the city, right? I want to have chickens in my backyard. The code is what dictates that. I want to grow a garden in my front yard. It's the code that determines that. I want to have a big party at the park and invite everybody to bring their classic cars. Code governs that. I want to get a permit to build a shed in my backyard. Again, it goes back to code. How's that different from an HOA? I'm really glad that you asked, camera sitting across the parking lot from me. HOAs are like franchises to the government. And so HOAs can govern what a neighborhood looks like. So if you live in a neighborhood with an HOA, you can think about that like the McDonald's fast food chain of government. You manage your streets. You manage the beauty standards of your houses. You manage, if people can have weeds in their yard, right? And so that's what that's like a subset, so you can kind of build an identity that's unique to you guys. But the government is the collective whole, right? So the first thing that we need to do is kind of clean up our existing code. To do that, I want to set up a council. I want to set up a little committee of you guys, of people, regular people. And I want to go through all of our code with those people and remove regulations and remove code. Well, make the suggestion. Again, the council has to vote on it, but get a suggestion put together of what to remove and what we want to keep and what we want to have expanded, right? And then present that to the council, get that passed for you guys. So that's kind of the first thing, is that code cleanup project. That's going to be a big one. That's going to probably take a year, maybe even 2 years. And so, big project on that one. The next thing is that we need to work on looking at the districts and the services that we have in our city. The Municipal Services District has been doing a job. I'm not going to call it a great job or a good job. They've been doing a job. And it's hard. I get it. I got a lot of empathy for the folks that are there, and a lot of compassion for them. They are hardworking people. But they are not in Magna. And that is their strength, right? They've got to be an economy of scale, theoretically. But they're not in Magna. They're in Taylorsville. And everything they do is in Taylorsville. And so everything they're thinking about is on the roads that they drive on to get to Taylorsville, and the building that they have in Taylorsville, and the location of Taylorsville. It's really hard if you're a road planner to care about a road that you don't drive on. And so that's the first thing, is I want to audit all of that stuff. I might not be able to make big major changes. I need the council to do that. But to make changes to that, or to suggest changes, I need metrics. I need information. And so that would be the first step, is go in there, look at all of the code that or all of the stuff that they're working on, how they're doing code enforcement, how they're doing animal control, all of those things, and audit it and make sure that we're getting the deal that we have signed up for them. They're a services vendor to us, right? And if it's not a good deal, we should pull out of it and we should find those services and bring those services home. So that would be the first one, a citizens-focused review of where we're spending our tax money. That's another way to think about it. And then what? What's next? Well, the next thing would be working with our neighbors. So I'm out here in Magna, technically, right? Out here by the Great Salt Lake. This is Magna City. And up against this part of Magna, we border Salt Lake City. So Salt Lake City goes from about 7,200 west all the way down along the Magna border, and then there's this weird little zigzag around the tailings impoundment. And then Magna continues all the way out to about the Tooele border, then out to the water itself. And then tailings is not in Magna, which you might be surprised to find out. Neither is the smelter or the refinery. Those are all in unincorporated Salt Lake City, but they are not part of Magna City. And so we have a lot of shared borders. And then we all know about our shared borders with West Val. We need to build a collaborative relationship with those two cities, because we have shared borders. We have a lot of shared stuff. And if you've driven up and down 7,200, that road's rough, especially between 35th and 41. That is a rough road. I rode my pedal bike on it, as I'm sure you've garnered. I'm a big pedal bike rider. I rode my bike on it, and let me tell you, it was rough. It was very rough. I felt every single one of those bumps on the way down. And the next one is dealing with the people who are in need. Now, I grew up in Magna, and I grew up without a lot of money in Magna, as I'm sure many of you who are watching this video understand. You feel, right? And bless my parents for how hard they worked. And frankly, in 2025, in the most prosperous country in the world, nobody in Magna should be suffering. Like, nobody should be left behind. I think we've got enough charities, organizations, and ability as a government to take care of those that are in need, especially when it comes to things like code enforcement and the way that our city interacts with people who might be struggling. And so one of the other goals that I have is to bring all of those groups and organizations that are in and operating within our city and see how we as the government could support them, organize with them, and work alongside of them. I know that, like, the Red Cross, for example, does food box drops at the parking lot behind my house. I live over on 8950 over by the Catholic Church, and the parking lot there, I see it when they do the food box drops, and I love that. I love seeing it. During the pandemic, I actually organized some of those with a group called Team Rubicon, and when everybody had lost their job, and it just felt like the world was ending during those first few weeks. I had reached out to them and to the county and was able to get them to come out and do 3 food box drops, and it was an eye-opening experience to kind of organize those and get those things going. And so I think that those organizations with collaboration, I think we really could probably do a lot for those that are lesser served, including our like homeless population and the people who are going to be wandering through Magna. Everybody deserves a bit of dignity and respect, right? Then the last thing, the last big thing that I would want to work on is interfacing with you guys. So I've got a couple of ideas on this, of course, in the comment section or wherever I end up posting this video. The first would be Meet the Mayor nights. I'm going to go post up someplace. Be at one of the bars downtown or a coffee shop, or even, if a fast food place will let me come in there and set up shop, right? Just some place where I can sit down and you guys can come and just talk to me in a casual setting, right? I want to make sure that as your mayor, I'm always available to you, and you always feel like there's a time where you can come and get some FaceTime with me, and I'll listen to you. I'll hear you out. And so that's the first thing. And this is going to be separate from like existing events that are ongoing throughout the year. I'll be at those, so you can interface with me there. The goal is to put myself into as many places where I'm in your path as possible. And that would also include formal kind of things like town halls, right? So I want to just reiterate again that promise, that commitment to talk with you guys and to communicate with you. And to just be like honest and transparent about it, right? Like oftentimes it's like, I'll have to look that up. I'll have to follow up on that. And then we never hear back on those things. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. And I'll tell you that I'll find out, and then I'll follow up on that. I'll ensure that I'm actually following up on those things too. Like that's in my job all day is me following up on things. I'm skilled at it. It's a weird skill set that I have, right? The other thing that I want to do is I want to find out what are all of the in-flight projects, so that while I am setting up shop, right, as the mayor, so that I can get these things in front of you guys. Like, there should be no reason why you can't go onto the website and see what active projects are ongoing and what their status is, and that you can make comment on them. So you can reach out to me and say, like, hey, I've noticed this thing. Don't agree with it. Don't like it. Or I love it. It's fantastic. Send us a kudos, right? Like, let that construction company know that I really like the way that they did X, Y, Z. And you know what? I'll go do that. I think it's great to do a lot of praise for folks. So I'm going to get into something that's kind of dry, right? And this is governmental theory. Ooh. We're going back to John Locke, for those of you that took civics classes. The idea of government is that we, as the people, combine together our thoughts and we create a government. And the government is for the people, by the people. I'm sure that you've heard that, right? We've seen it on official documents and on seals and all of that. But what does that really mean? Well, it means that your council members are representatives of you. Not necessarily representatives of themselves, but representatives of you. And so as mayor, I want to hold your representatives accountable. If they're not answering your phone calls, if they're not fielding what you're talking about, I want to know about that. And going back to that, that fifth idea of interfacing with it, one of the things I want to implement is a walk the district events, where I'll go and meet, once a quarter or whatever works with the particular council members, or even at a higher frequency. But meet with each and every one of the 5 council members and walk around in their district and perform what are known as spot surveys, right? We see people out on the street, we're going to go talk to you. We're going to see, hey, how are you feeling about the city? How are you feeling about these things? And we're going to take that feedback and turn it into action. And the other reason why we want to do this walkabout is that it helps your counselor and it helps me advocate for you. Because again, we would be representing you, not our own interests, right? So like as mayor, my job is not to do what Michael Romero thinks is best. My job as mayor would be to understand the needs of the people and do the action that they collectively want to do. So that means that even if I think it's a bad idea, but everybody I'm talking to in the city thinks it's a good idea, then I will do the will of the people, not what I think. And that's the same thing with your council members. That's what the standard that they should be held to. Because that's what a representative government that we have is. That's what a republic means. So we're the United States of America, a republic, and we democratically elect our representatives, or the people who represent us. And so as your mayor, that would be kind of my primary focus, right? I want to make sure that Magna is working for you, that your tax dollars are spent correctly, and that we're accountable to you, so that you have transparency into everything that we're doing, because it's yours, Another way to think about this is that the council is like the board of directors in a business, and the mayor is the CEO. And the city manager, which we have here in Magna, is the chief operations officer. And so that person, their job is going to be to make sure that under my direction that they are accomplishing the tasks that the council has put out. So I'm holding him accountable, and the council's holding me accountable, and we're all holding everybody accountable, right? Accountability, that's kind of the key word here. Accountability and transparency, because we would be, if elected, I would be your representative as a collective whole, and your district members would be your representatives. So just keep that in mind. And I say this because we're a city, and as a city, there's a lot more responsibility, and there's a lot more responsibility for your government now. It's not just letting the county manage things and take care of you. It is literally the city that is now responsible for most of these things. Cities have quite a bit of power and authority, right? Oh, and one other thing that I wanted to mention was building, as part of that, building relationships like with our neighboring cities, right? I also want to make sure that we're building relationships with our local state representatives. It doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or a Republican or anything like that. This is a nonpartisan thing because at the end of the day, the city is the closest interface with you, the people. In the case of like 8400 or U111, as it's known, or 201. Our job would be to chase down UDOT, and we would need to work with the state senators and the state representatives at the state legislature level to ensure that they're chasing that stuff from the top down and we're chasing from the bottom up to ensure that projects get done. And Magna, for a long time, we've been kind of this humble to a fault or too small of a town mentality. I don't really know what's been driving a lot of it, but a lot of times we're like, well, we'll take what's sent to us rather than being the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, right? So we're competing against a bunch of cities that are advocating for themselves, that are chasing after things for themselves, that are applying for grants, that are doing big capital projects, and we're out here hoping that some of those table scraps will fall off to us and that we'll be able to actually act on them, right? And that's not a wise way of representing you guys and your guys' tax money. So that's me. I came out here and I think I've done like an hour or something. It's gonna be a big old long video, but I just really wanted to give you guys like a chance to get to know me. Don't get some like hugely, massively scripted campaign. Hello, my name's Michael Romero. I've tried actually making kind of a couple of videos for you guys, and every time I hate them, to be honest. I come out and I'm like, that's why you should elect me your mayor. And it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel unique, and it doesn't feel, intimate. It doesn't feel like you're actually getting to know me. And so I'm here. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. Throw them into the chat. My number's posted on my website, mike4magna.com, and on the Facebook, Mike number 4 magna.com. My number's on all of those. There's forms if you don't want to give me a call. I know that giving a call can be kind of anxiety inducing and it can be uncomfortable, post-COVID, I guess, right? But you can also text me at that number and I'll respond to you. If you want to try out my responsiveness, give it a shot. But feel free to ask questions and just know that it would be truly an honor for me to serve you. The sun has set, and so must the sun on my video. That was dumb.